Hello, my name is Naomi if you don't already know me, and today I'm going to talk about The Photograph. It's a new movie that's out, came out on Valentine's Day, and it was directed and produced by Issa Rae, and then she's also the star character, so love a queen who can just, embody her work like that. But yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the movie because after seeing it, I just walked away with so many positive feelings about it and just some insights that I think are worth sharing. I definitely think The Photograph, this movie, while it's just a romantic movie, is culturally significant because while watching the movie and then walking out, it made me realize the void currently in media or the lack of Black stories about people who are just living their lives and are professionals and generally healthy folks, and it not being associated with this inherent struggle. A lot of Black media, like a Tyler Perry movie, like Oscar winning movies, all have kind of to do with this tropes of Black people, so over exaggeration and comedy, tropes of Black people, or just deep, debilitating struggle and coming out of that. And while those are, enjoyable, sometimes entertaining, uplifting stories, I think it's important for us to have just regular old movies like everybody else. It doesn't have to be always having to do with racism or, whatever. So basically, The Photograph, it just its basic premise of the movie is that there is Issa Rae's character, May, and then there's her mother, Christine. And what the movie does is it goes back and forth between Issa Rae in the current day, dealing with the loss of her mother. So that was probably the only struggle this girl was going through, just dealing with the loss of her mother. She's a curator in New York, props to her. And then her mother, Christine, going back to when she was around the same age, and how she lost love and how Issa Rae finds love, or May, sorry, finds love. And it goes along this kind of parallel story throughout the movie and goes back and forth. And I loved how they kind of weaved in the mother's story. It was very closely tied to the plot of Issa Rae's current life. Like the guy she was interested in was writing a story on Christine's love interest back in the day. And then Issa Rae, obviously her mother was a photographer, a very famous photographer. So her show she was curating had to do with her mother and her photos. And so it was very closely tied, but essentially just love lost and love found. Very simple. And I love that, just how the movie was written in general. I loved how that was written. It wasn't jarring when they transitioned. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't gratuitous. I noticed it was very subtle in everything and how they went back and forth. And even in the music, you would see with Christine's story, it was in the 70s or 80s or whatever is the time frame, and they would play music like Motown music and disco and just music of that time. And then in the current day, they'd play current R&B, like Ari Lennox, LMA, those people. And it was refreshing because it was music that almost every song was I know this song. Most Black people would know this song, and it's not the overly commercialized music I don't know. You know what I'm talking about, September or Celebrate. Those type of over the top songs. It was just it was a movie crafted and created for the average Black person, and just very realistic in that sense. Of course, there were some things tropes in romantic movies, wow, they're all living in really nice apartments in New York, and oh wow, wow, she flew all the way over there to profess her love. That's crazy. Spoiler, sorry. But it's just, those had the tropes, but it also was just Black people presented in a very normal and this is just a person type of light without diminishing Black culture. And it's also the positive things of Black culture. So I definitely feel this was somewhat of a love letter to us. And I realized watching the movie, seeing Issa Rae, a darker skinned woman, and then Lakeith Stanfield, I think it's Lakeith something, he played the love interest, he was in Get Out. darker skinned man, and just them having this love story come together, and it not having to do with Issa Rae getting beat or her needing to be humble and go back home to find the deadbeat guy who's gonna like change her life, you know, like those tropes. It was just two successful people who just happened upon each other in life and fell in love. And then you have Christine and Isaac, and it's Christine, she's a working woman. She has, you know, she wants to move to New York. She wants to make something of herself that's not just having to be the woman for the man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and while I'm all for marriage and I'm all for love in that way, expressed in that way, it was a different side of the story. Seeing a Black woman have agency and success in a time where it may have been a little difficult for her to do so. Or in Issa Rae's situation, just respected right off the bat, and nothing necessarily had to be earned like on screen. She didn't have to go through something to get to where she was, and it was okay for her to be in that realm of success without being a B word, you know, without being a biatch, without being having to go through the worst. You know, she was just respected. Same with Lakeith's character. It was just like respect in his field, and it's just you don't really see that. And then they're just generally decent people. They're not like these anti-heroes that you hate and then they come to be people you like. It was just a love story. There were moments watching the movie, almost in every scene, and I noticed this was happening, but like on almost every scene, I had like this sense of anxiety. And what I mean by that is we're conditioned in most Black entertainment or movies or anything having to do with Black people, we're conditioned to expect something bad to happen just because that's just the nature of the story, right? There's always some racial slur. There's always someone getting shot, someone pulled over, something happening horribly. And there were moments in the movie where I was like, oh my gosh, is something going to happen to these characters? Oh no. And nothing happened. It was just them having a conversation, or them doing the do, or going on a date. Like it was, or having a meaningful conversation. It wasn't, oh, there are the police lights again, or oh, there's him ending up in jail. Like it was, or him being addicted, or, you know, it was this, but I realized like me feeling that anxiety is kind of what we've been conditioned through media to expect in those stories. And that's what, you know, gets the highest accolades, and that kind of anxiety and on edgeness about Black media, Black entertainment, or entertainment involving Black people. So that was something I was like, we need more of movies like this that are just portraying the average Black person, or just the buffy, like the upper class Black person, in a positive light, that just living their lives. You know what I'm saying? And then, what was another thing? Another point. So seeing like Issa Rae just playing her role so beautifully, and just how the camera, like the film cinematography, how they captured her and captured him, it was just so beautifully done, you guys. Like I have nothing but good things to really say about the movie. Yeah, it was a good movie, and I think it'll be. I know from when I was a younger girl, watching mainly white rom-coms or romantic movies, I realized, looking in hindsight, a lot of those stories for me were mainly fantasy, like something that is cute in theory, but I didn't feel could necessarily happen for me because of I didn't really look like them, or just this idea of like the white woman being the most desired. And I just realized that there was a lack of that. And seeing this movie, seeing Issa Rae desired, seeing her mother desired for them, you know what I'm saying? And their just beauty just being expressed like that, and not, you know, it was, I know it gave me, if I had that when I was younger, it would have given me a lot more hope, I guess, or just more self-confidence in seeing that being a normal thing, a Black woman being desired simply for who she is, and not because it's overly sexualized or overly struggle. You know, it was just such a good movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, please go watch it. I recommend it. If you did see it, comment down below what you thought of it, or private message me. But yeah, I hope you have a great day. Bye.